Far out, time flies. Suddenly it's Sunday, like a week later. And there's typical debauchery going on in the workshop. These are the ramps. This is one of the ramps that I use to put stuff and things on the trailer. These things are sold. They're aimed at right on lawnmowers and ATVs and things like that, right? But they're rated at 450 kgs. That's probably the pair. So anyway, I bought them quite some time ago. Tried it with the Z, which is up here. Look, there's things going on we'll talk about soon. And yeah, they bent. So I added some more structure. There's actually another rail that I put under there, and that worked fine. Except over the years, the aluminium mesh they had on top, that all collapses. You might be able to see the profile of it. It kind of buckles like that. So you're not getting the support, and the car's really just riding on that rail up the middle there, which is not good. And if it happens to be touching the sides, it'll help, but things bend. You can probably see that's got a bit of distortion on it. So out with the old pneumatic, where is it? I've lost it. Pneumatic air chisel. There we go. Plug that into the air line there, and where all the rivets were. Rivets. Welding, Glenn. We're going to rivet. Welding. Off that comes. Bit of work. Took a while. And then run over with the flappy disc on the angle grinder. Not getting carried away. It's not a Mona Lisa. It's a car ramp. And it's an old car ramp being refurbished. I've got plans in my head to make some brand new ones, but materials are very expensive at the moment. Crazy expensive. So magic tools here. Blocko wood. Large hammer. Flip that upside down, put it back into the shape that it needs to be. Our mates at Collins Profile Cutting, I think I've got these cut to length. No, width, but not length. This is the plan. Like I said, materials are very expensive at the moment. Oh no, this one will be, yeah, that one's to length. So we're going to put this in here. It'll fit. That's going to go in there like that. That's 2mm. That's going to give us, I'll get this in here in a minute. That's going to give us some strength. And then we've got, this is quite thin, right? This is 2mm as well, I think. So I priced up a sheet of tread plate in 5mm, which is what I really wanted to make my new ramps. And I was quoted $1,000 one of the local suppliers, to which I just kind of chuckled at and walked away. And that slips over the top of both of those. It will when I've got two hands free. Goes on there, goes over like that, see? And then we'll put some rivets on there. Every now and then, all they'll be doing is stopping that sliding off the top. And that's how ramps are going to be significantly better than what they were. They'll look much more like what the rest of the trailer is, and this won't cave in like that mesh does. That's really, really weak compared to that plus that. That by itself, if it was only the march going on, then we may have got away with it. But with this underneath there, yeah, it's going to be a bit heavier, but we don't really care about that. And that'll be gold. Then when we put this on there to do further stuff and things with it, we won't wreck the splitter on the front there, lip diffuser, whatever we want to call it, which has been replaced. The other one was looking a bit second-hand. Previous owner thought it was a bash plate. It's not a bash plate. It's not designed for hitting the ground. But anyway, and I've upgraded. They might still be on the bench. Are they over here? Some of the hardware that I used on it was just mild steel. Just, you know, zinc galv or whatever, zinc plated. And as you can see, after a few years, not so great. So that's been upgraded. We've got stainless steel and countersunk now. So it's not going to get hit on things and ripped off as easily as what it would have done before. It's still not a work of art. It was actually built in a little bit of a hurry just to help out with Superlap. Not that it actually, funnily enough, it didn't really need any front end grip. It was rear end grip that it really needed, but you do what you do when you're mucking around, right? Right, I better get these finished. Cool, first one underway. So there's a little lip that runs along the edge of here, which was originally I should say, about that high, which is a lot higher than what we need, which would have meant we'd have to stack material up really high to get our radius edges on the new cover correct and to get it all sitting flat. We're not getting too fussy about the welding and stuff that's underneath there. So I've run along with buzzy wheel, grinding wheel, etc. and tidied those up a little bit further. I had cut them originally with a skill saw, of all things. Bloomin' magic. It's going to go up there to about there. That is close enough. We're not worried about this gap. Your tyres certainly aren't going to form there, and it gives you somewhere to pick it up. I'll take all the sharp edges off here, so no one's going to lose their fingers. And there's some length to trim out of it at the other end here. I'll figure that out when we've got it on the trailer. Stick it on the back of the trailer and figure out what this angle actually needs to be, because this angle here is wrong. So we can fix that up a little bit. I think it might bottom out on there as well, so there's a little bit of tidying to do. So that's those two pieces just going to get riveted onto the frame that's underneath. That's all it needs. Just needs to stop it sliding out and hold it all together so it's easier to put it on the trailer and pack it away. Okay, that side of it sorted out. That was all relatively easy. Now I've got this mocked up here in the garage because it's a bit yucky outside, to see whether realistically there were any gains from the extra length that we've captured at the end there, and the answer is no. So that block of wood represents the end of the trailer. It's pretty close, give or take a couple of millimeters. As you can see there, there's an issue with clearance. We're pretty much touching that already, and we're still quite a long way away from the ramps. That splitter is actually bent because I have been known to just bash it up there and just, it kind of bends back almost to where it should have been. Very rough, shouldn't really do that. I do have these other ramps that I've built to step it up, and that's touching the tyre now where that one's sitting. You should be able to see that. So that's kicking that, make sure it's all the way back. The car will go up onto here. Then the front of the car is whatever that height is. I think it's about 80 or 100 higher than the back. So the splitter angle comes up like that, which helps a bit. And you put these ramps here, the end of those slots onto that. So it's got that little step there so it can't slide off. And it's got a groove in the middle of it. So that beam that runs down the middle locates on that. So it can't fall off side to side. It can't fall off this way. And if it goes that way, it doesn't actually matter because it'd have to go a very long way before there would be any issues. And we have those on the floor there behind the mesh, the strops that locate underneath the ramp and tie onto the back of the trailer to stop the ramps disappearing. So still going to have to muck around with these, unfortunately, to get the march on and off the trailer. Unless I spend a whole heap of money and redesign the trailer entirely so that we've got a much lower approach angle. Never mind. These are a little bit heavier now with the tread plate on there instead of the mesh. No big deal. And they should be stronger. They should work much better with normal cars rather than this silly machine that's only, it's like a finger height off the ground. So that kind of makes things tricky. If I extend that splitter out further to get more downforce on the front and actually build a proper splitter instead of signboard. I know this is not perfect for downforce, but it's cheap, right? If I bash this up, it's an hour or two and a couple $100 and it's replaced. If I make something out of carbon fibre, it's thousands if you bash it up. So, yes, I shall carry on after lunch, do the other ramp, I might see if there are some tweaks that I can do to help to make it a bit easier. I can probably shorten these up, then they might fit across the ute instead of along the deck. These won't fit in the deck of the ute anymore because I've made them too long now by that much. Oh, cars. Cool. All sorted. Even put the strops back in. Shall we zoom? Look, I can zoom in. Oh God, that's terrible, isn't it? There we go, some focus. So that'll do. I was going to have a muck around and shorten these up, as I mentioned earlier. And then I thought, no, because they're actually quite good just like that. If you're at the track and you want to get under the car, it is absolutely 100% impossible unless you can lift it up somehow. And a lot of jacks won't go under the car. My little one that I've had for years and years and years that I bought from Kmart will go under the car, but most other things won't. So if you've got a pair of those, which obviously there's another one leaning against the wall there, a pair of those, and that gets you whatever that height is, 80 or 100 off the ground, and that's a good starting point. Then you can actually have a crack at it. Right, chrome coming up this weekend. We'll do some, I think I've said this before and it didn't happen. We'll do some roll racing and we'll do some horsepower, high horsepower session thingies, laps. We'll also get all these Z32 300 ZX bits off the car and into this car that's above us, and we'll talk about that one later on. All right, thanks for watching. Cheers, boy.